Welcome back year 2. So it's Thursday today. We're going to carry on with what we know about pictograms. Now we're going to do something slightly different today using pictograms because we're going to interpret them, that means understand them, but we're going to count the pictograms in 2, 5 and 10s. I'll explain more about this now. So here we have a tally chart. This chart is giving us information about fruit, so how many people have fruit in the class. So the first thing you should do always with a tally is work out what the totals are. So let's look at the bananas. So the bananas are, there's 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oranges, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tomatoes, there are 4. Apples, 5, 10, 11, 12. Now, I want you to notice this down here. This says the key. And you're probably thinking, what does that mean? So it's a square and it says equals 2. Now I want you to remember this when we look at the pictogram. So I'm going to bring up the pictogram. Let me just move that 14 out the way. So put 14 there. Right. So the pictogram looks like this. Now you could, if you notice, it's sort of in groups of bananas, oranges, tomatoes and apples. Now the key says that each square equals 2. So will we need 14 squares? Well, no, we won't need 14 squares. So what we have to do is make sure that each square represents 2. So if I bring up the squares, so I've put these in, so each one is worth 2. And then we need to count to see if we can get 14 bananas. So let's check. So the first one is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And look, there we go. Our total is 14. So we only needed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares because each one is worth 2. So it makes it easier than drawing 14 squares. Now let's look at oranges. So there are 8. Can you work out how many squares we would need for oranges? Have a think. So let's add the squares. So remember, each square is worth 2. Now let's add them up. 2, 4, 6, 8. So you only need 4 squares, and of course half of 8 is 4. So we have 8 in total. And then we could do the same with the tomatoes. So tomatoes, there are only 4 tomatoes. 4 tomatoes. So we don't need 4 squares, of course, because we're counting in 2s again. 2, 4. So this is handy when we're doing our times tables. And then the final one, apples. We need 12 apples. So a good way of thinking of this is, what is half of 12? And if you know what half of 12 is, then you will know how many squares you will need. So each one is 2. So we count in 2s again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so we have 12. And that's a different way of doing a pictogram. So now we have another tally, which is school dinners. So let's bring up all the data. Now we're going to find out, first of all, the total amount for each lunch option. So jacket potato, let's say we've got 5, 10, 15. So 15 people want jacket potato. What about school packed lunch? How many do you think want school packed lunch? You have a go first. Okay, let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 people want that option. Vegetarian? 5, 10. And then the last one, meat option. You have a go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So I'll put just 25 there. Okay, so now we've got the totals, we can use that information to put it into our pictogram. Now the first one has been done for us. And if you look, there are 3 squares, which is a bit strange because if each square was worth 1, would this work? Well, we know it couldn't work because we would need 15 squares to show the total for jacket potato. So definitely the key isn't 1. Yeah? So what could it be? Should we try 2? So if each one is 2, should we see if it makes 15? 2, 4, 6. No, that doesn't work either. So it's definitely not 2 either. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes to think. There is a clue by looking at the tally. Okay, so hopefully you've worked out that each square is worth 5. 5, another 5, and another 5. And if you add those up, 5, 10, 15. So you only need 3 squares, but each square is worth 5. And if you times them, you know that that will make 15. Now let's move on to school packed lunch. So how many squares do you think you'll need for school packed lunch if each square is worth 5? Okay, did you think? Let's see, is this right? We've got 4 squares, so let's see if we're right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Right, put 5 in each of those, and I've got 4 squares. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, and the total is 20. Correct. Excuse my phone. So it's 4 squares with 5 in each, and it makes 20. Very good. I hope you got the same answer too. So I'm going to let you think about the next one. What would be the multiplication calculation for this? If we've got 2 squares. Okay, so it's 2 squares times 5 equals 10. Okay, and the final one, meat. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So let's see. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We think we've got 5 squares times 5 in each. Let's see if it does make 25. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yes, there we go. Okay, and that's what you need to do today. So you will have some different activities. Make sure you look at the key. Sometimes the key will tell you what the picture or the square will represent. And then some of them also might have some missing pictures. So you might have to add to the pictogram. So have a look and see how you get on. And I'll be back tomorrow with some more maths. Take care.